Next, we do have the global search. So global search is pretty cool. It will go out and search the entire database for things. So maybe you want to find a vendor or maybe an invoice, things like that. So I do have a vendor number. Patty was wonderful and gave me some information in advance. So we're just going to do a global search for this vendor number I have written down. It's going to be 13181. It's going to go out and search the entire database, and it's going to find everything related to that vendor. And if there's anything you want to add to this portion of this, definitely chime in, Patty.
Okay. I will say that because we are in the test database, it's a tad bit laggy. So much like when you're in production, expect that when we go live with this version, you should have the same experience, but test will be a little laggy. The other thing, and I'm probably jumping ahead of Mindy here, is that you can filter by the type that you were looking for. In other words, did you want a customer bill? Did you want a vendor? Did you want an invoice number? So Mindy, I'll let you explain that, but I think that is a pretty cool feature.
Yeah. So just going off of what Patty said, you are going to get a ton of results because it is searching everything from accounts payable to accounts receivable to payroll, the entire database, and you guys might just work on a tiny portion of it. So if you do need to filter it down, maybe the vendor calls and has a question on an invoice, you can go and select your invoice filter just to filter that down. Or maybe you don't want to filter down that nitty gritty. If you scroll down a little bit, you can sort it by the product. So maybe you want to do all things accounts payable and purchasing. You can filter it down that way as well. So if I filter down to accounts payable, I'm not going to see my requisitions and purchase orders because those are technically purchasing. But I will see all of my invoices and some of my vendor information. And then anything on this page, it does show you kind of like a little condensed version of it, just because there's so much data for the vendor. If you need to see more of the invoices, you can click show all. Same thing down here with the vendor record. If they had a lot of addresses, maybe you weren't seeing everything, you can click show all. If you want to actually dive deeper into what it's showing you, you can click on this little launch arrow and it'll open it up for you. So from the global search, you can actually get into some of the programs in Unis and start working and viewing your information.
So I see this as a super time saver that, again, if I was looking for a particular purchase order or an invoice or a customer bill, rather than going through the menu or even favorites, I can just go right to that global search and put in the parameters. So I think that's a pretty great feature.
The global search does throw you into some of the Essentials programs. So if you're not used to seeing these, I can understand why it looks a little bit off to you. I also am probably similar to you guys. I tend to use what we call the classic programs. But over time, as I've been demoing them, I found more and more reasons to start using the Essentials, and I've slowly made the switch to the Essentials programs. It doesn't happen overnight, but when you have to show both every day, you tend to gravitate towards whichever one is more adaptive and efficient and more easier and fun to use. All right, so that is it on global search. If anybody has something particular they want me to look up, I can, but if not, we're gonna go back and look at our Tyler menu. But real quick, I will switch over to the library tab because I missed that. The library tab is just going to show you any cards and pages related to that vendor, which chances are there isn't anything specific to that vendor in the Hub library because you guys aren't building that stuff out. That's okay. And then it will show you your menu stuff. So it's not linking out right yet, but you can always keep an eye on this and see if results are found when you search on other things here.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add, Mindy, is that when we first go live, everyone is going to have the same home page. but there will be, whether you're a department head, whether it's a specific area that you work in, that we will work individually with folks to tailor. So for example, if you were in the treasurer's office and you wanted to see receipts, or if you were a department head and you want to see accruals. So we will either add cards to your homepage or add a separate page, but just to, walk before we run, when we go live, everyone's homepage will look the same.
So just gonna continue moving along on our homepage. We do have the handy dandy question mark over on the right-hand side. This is something you might have seen in 11.3. So with the help section, you can go and get help on all things Tyler Hub. We also have Tyler University, and you can now take courses in your test and train environments as well as live, but you will actually be entering in records. So we recommend doing them in test or train. It will take you step by step what you need to click, what you need to type in a field, what a field means. Some of them have really fun backstories as to why you're doing it. And there's also some videos in here. So if that's of interest, you just click on Tyler University. Maybe there is something new in this version you're not used to or you want to start using. You can look that up. You can either type in a question, you can go down. It's all broken out by area of munis. So Hub would be a good one because that's new to everyone. You can go down there and take any of the Hub classes, or you can do something a little bit more related to your job, like how to enter an invoice. If I type in how to enter an invoice, it's going to give me an answer. And the answer is going to be a class that I can take. So I'm not going to go through the whole class with you guys, but I will just click on it very quickly so you can get a feel for how the classes work. You click on enter an invoice. It will take you through the menu path. So it's going to tell you over here what to click on. And as you are clicking through it, it will then tell you, once you get into the program, again, what buttons to click, in what order, why we are doing this, and what everything means. So once you get into the program, it's going to tell you to click your add batch. It's going to give you a little scenario about why you're doing it. At any point, if you would like to exit the course, once the little bubble pops up, there is an exit button that you can click on. There's also a back button. So if you want to go back to the prior step, you can do that. If you see the graduation cap, that's your Tyler University. It will show you any classes relevant to the program.